One of the biggest victories of Donald Trump's first term as president was freeing the American people from the illusion that the mainstream legacy media was unbiased, right? For years, we all knew that they were left-leaning. We all knew that they were Democrats and supported that party and wanted them to win every single election and, of course, was pushing their agenda. And thanks to Donald Trump's victory, their TDS was completely exposed and they lost all credibility. So it's good to see them being called out in real time, not only by him, but by members of his administration, okay? So that, of course, is what we're going to see today. But before we look at these clips, don't forget to like and comment on this video so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
Let me ask you a question about, because one of the reasons that President Trump got elected, according to President Trump in an interview, I think it was with Kristen Welker of NBC, was because of grocery prices. Not the only reason, but a reason: high prices, inflation, especially at the grocery. The Department of Agriculture says that between 2020 and 2022, 42% of crop workers were undocumented immigrants. And in many cases, as you know, these migrants do jobs many Americans do not want to do. So how does President Trump make sure that the effort to deport people who are not in this country legally doesn't end up hurting Americans who want safe borders, absolutely, but also don't want to see even more higher prices in groceries?
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's not your position, Jake. You're just asking the question, that we should supply America's food with exploitative illegal alien labor. I obviously don't think that's what you're implying. Only 1% of alien workers in the entire country work in agriculture. The top destination for illegal aliens are large cities like New York, like Los Angeles, and small industrial towns, of course, all across the heartland, as we've seen with the Biden floods. None of those illegal aliens are doing farm work. Those 30,000 legal aliens that Joe Biden dumped into Springfield.
I'm talking about the ones that are.
But I'm explaining this. It's important to understand.
No, you're kind of changing the subject. I mean, I'm talking about the ones.
I will give me 30 minutes. I'll go as deep as you want on this. I'm explaining to you and your audience.
I don't have a third. I'm talking about the ones that work in the agriculture industry.
I'm explaining
you can come back
to you
and we can talk about the ones in the cities. I swear.
I'll do the whole answer. The illegal aliens that Joe Biden brought into our country are not full stop doing farm work. They are not. The illegal aliens he brought in from Venezuela, from Haiti, from Nicaragua, they are not doing farm work. They are in our cities collecting welfare. As for the farmers, there is a guest worker program that President Trump supports. Over time as well, we will transition into automation, so we'll never have to have this conversation ever again. But there's no universe in which this nation is going to allow the previous president to flood our nation with millions and millions of illegal aliens who just get to stay here. And we are especially not going to allow a subset of those illegal aliens to rape and murder our citizens. So we are going to unapologetically enforce our immigration laws, and as I'm sure you will celebrate, we are going to unleash the power and might of the U.S. government to eradicate the presence of transnational threats on our soil.
So there's Jake Tapper being completely dismantled by Stephen Miller, who, by the way, is Donald Trump's deputy chief of staff and founder of America First Legal, who's basically the right-wing version of the ACLU, right? Going out there and protecting the rights and freedoms of conservative Americans in this country. It's a great organization. But of course, here he is coming after the left, who of course is very upset that Donald Trump is actually not only deporting the violent criminal illegal aliens, but also your standard illegal aliens when they're rounded up. So Jake Tapper, of course, has to try to obfuscate the issue and say, well, if we get rid of these illegal aliens that are picking our crops, won't that cause the price of produce to go up? But Stephen Miller, he is not taking the bait. He's saying, you know what the Biden regime did? He opened the border and let in millions of people not to pick our crops, all right, but actually into the interior of the country to take our jobs. But all the left cares about is that, oh, we're trying to stop it at all. We're trying to close the border down at all. We're actually trying to find criminals and deport them. You can't do that. Heaven forbid, right? And this is the lesson the left has not learned. Yes, this was a mandate from the American people for Donald Trump. We were sick and tired of all of our community resources going to help out illegal immigrants when our own people are suffering, when our own people are having a hard time. So this, of course, is a losing issue for them, but they still can't quite seem to grasp it, right? Instead, they're like, oh, Donald Trump is actually rounding up people and deporting them. They can't believe that someone was actually serious and is doing what they said they were going to do, what he ran on and what he won on. And I love how Stephen Miller basically just takes Jake Tapper to task over this. But of course, we're not done yet. Let's hear a little bit more from Tom Homan.
Listen to this. New York City joined the list of cities where these performative raids are taking place.
We have a government right now that is reckless.
Reckless and also, I mean, as I've said, performative. I mean, I want to show you an image of Kristi Noem, who was just confirmed, the former governor who was confirmed as Department of Homeland Security. I mean, it's as she's cosplaying. It's almost a game where she seems to be cosplaying, as I'm not sure what she thinks that she's portraying here. She might as well be at Comic-Con.
James and Joyce say you're reckless and you're just role-playing for fun.
She's dumber than a box of rocks. Bottom line is, let's talk about Chicago for a minute. Chicago mayor says that we put fear in the elementary schools because ICE agents went to elementary school. Total false story. What ICE did in Chicago is save children. What we did in New York today is save children. Just Chicago alone, we arrested like 9 sexual predators, most of them child sex predators. We took them off the street. We took them off the street in New York today. We're protecting the community. We're saving children. We're going to secure that border so less Americans die of fentanyl deaths. We're securing the border so less women and children are sex trafficked. Biden administration had a 600% increase in sex trafficking. We're securing the border so less terrorists and people on the terrorist watch lists get into the country. Biden, under Biden, we had a 3,500% increase in people on the terrorist watch list. No, we're saving this nation. We're making America safe again. So they need to get out of the way because we're coming. We're going to do it. They're not going to stop us.
The great thing about having the truth and facts on your side is it makes it so easy to completely dismantle the lies of the left, right? So there we saw Joy Reid and Letitia James talking about, oh, this is all performative, right? Donald Trump and Tom Homan, they don't really mean any of this. They're just trying to put on a good face for the American people. No, they've already rounded up thousands of illegal immigrants, criminals, rapists, murderers, right? Bad people that we should be applauding them for getting them out of our country. But the left simply can't cope with it. Any type of action to secure this nation, to close the border, to them is an affront to human rights around the world. So America has to therefore take in untold, unlimited amounts of people. Who cares if they had a background check? Who cares if they've been vetted, right? We just want them in here because we're an awful, evil, terrible, racist nation that has to pay the price in some fashion. And by opening up our borders, that of course is how we're going to make good on those promises to the world. I don't know. It makes zero sense. But Tom Homan, yes, coming out and saying she's as dumb as a bag of rocks, all right? This is what we need. This is what we want because, yes, the left's ideas are completely idiotic. In a vacuum, they may sound kind of good until you start actually thinking about, oh, what's the byproduct of that? What's the result of that? What could possibly go wrong? And then, of course, it all just simply falls apart. And as Tom Homan put it, yes, he is actually saving these communities. He's keeping children and the American citizens in this country safe. Whereas Joe Biden, of course, turned a complete blind eye to missing children. Joe Biden turned a complete blind eye to sex trafficking. Joe Biden turned a complete blind eye to all of the assaults that were happening to the women trying to get to this country, all right? That is not compassion. That is complete and utter cruelty of the worst kind, and we need to call it out every single time they try to rear this lie's ugly head. But of course, we have some more.
3,500 arrests ICE has made so far since President Trump came back into office. Can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
You may have to point at the worst first. They all have a criminal record?
And welcome to the briefing.
If they broke our nation's laws, yes. They are criminal. Yes. Peter.
Caroline, very quickly, just following up on the question on immigration first. President Trump, during the course of the campaign in 2024, said the following about illegal immigration. He said, they're going back home where they belong, and we start with the criminals. There are many, many criminals. NBC News has learned that ICE arrested 1,179 undocumented immigrants on Sunday, but nearly half of them, 566 of the migrants, appear to have no prior criminal record besides entering the country illegally. Is the president still focused exclusively, which is a civil crime, it's not criminal?
It's a federal crime.
So I'm asking though. He said he was going to focus on those violent offenders first. So is violent offenders no longer the predicate for these people to be deported?
The president has said countless times on the campaign trail, I've been with him at the rallies, I know you've been there covering them too, Peter, that he is focused on launching the largest mass deportation operation in American history of illegal criminals. And if you are an individual, a foreign national, who illegally enters the United States of America, you are by definition a criminal, and so therefore you are subject to deportation.
I apologize for interrupting. So to be clear, it's not violent criminals do not receive precedence in terms of the deportations taking place.
The president has also said two things can be true at the same time. We want to deport illegal criminals, illegal immigrants from this country, but the president has said that, of course, the illegal criminal drug dealers, the rapists, the murderers, the individuals who have committed heinous acts on the interior of our country and who have terrorized law-abiding American citizens, absolutely, those should be the priority of ICE, but that doesn't mean that the other illegal criminals who entered our nation's borders are off the table.
So there's Donald Trump's new press secretary, Karoline Leavitt, right, at her first press conference, setting two reporters straight, right, asking the same exact question. Is Donald Trump not only deporting the violent criminal illegal aliens, he's also just deporting the regular standard criminal illegal aliens? Yes, two things can be true at once. We're going to prioritize the worst of the worst, those violent criminals, get them out of here. But guess what? Other people, if they get caught up in the net, they are going as well because they are breaking federal law, right? Federal law. Right? And by doing so, we're returning this nation to law and order. And I love the dig on Joe Biden right at the end there, right? I know that his administration didn't care about getting rid of all of these criminals, right? I know that his administration didn't care about protecting the American people. But guess what? We do, right? And we're taking this very seriously. And this is what the American people want to see. And this is exactly why everyone has lost faith in the traditional legacy media. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and stay safe out there, people, because they're coming after you.